actually today we are going to do like a slightly serious topic, like thoda sa. Of course, मस्ती तो करेंगे क्योंकि हम दोनों हैं, but it's like a slightly serious topic. Also, I've tied my hair appropriately for this topic. I feel because because we are talking about spirituality and spiritual gurus like Sadhguru and Jay Shetty, and honestly, we don't know what we're going to talk about because I come with a different approach with
Yeah.
this topic and Soumya comes with a different approach. So आप भी हमारे साथ podcast का point on the way ही we'll figure it out as life
On the
goes.
way, you will
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah.
Yes. I
First
think
spiritual
that
anecdote.
is yes, that is the first rule of spirituality. That
हाँ,
as life goes on, you figure it out. You figure
correct,
out what works for you and you follow it, right?
correct. That is,
Because spirituality technically isn't just religious. It's
mm,
like, just a
it's
way
not
of life.
religious. It is not religious.
Yeah.
So it is very heavily not religious. So like most of these guys, right? So yes, for example, if you say Sadhguru, he follows like Shiv ka whatever. He's a
Hmm.
devout Shiv Bhakt. And if I'm talking about people like Jay Shetty, okay, we will talk about like Sadhguru and Jay Shetty mainly is because these two people are the only ones who are on the internet.
Matlab,
And
and they are most people know about them.
correct. Also, the fact that neither Soumya nor I have the time in our general lives to actually figure out other spiritual leaders. Plus, and it, for me right now, it doesn't appeal to me at all. I remember there was a phase where I used to really like Sadhguru, like I used to follow Sadhguru. His videos used to come out, I used to watch them, vagera. And then I like not for me anymore. And then
Hmm.
it like I was having this conversation with a bunch of people. I wouldn't call them friends at this point, but like with a bunch of people who are like I was at a friend's wedding and I was sitting with his cousins and friends and really good people, and this conversation came up, right? And so they were like, dude, I really like it. और मैं नशे में था मैं I don't know, I had these feelings in me because but very naturally I said, dude, I can't stand Sadhguru. And I'm like,
Hmm.
when I, whatever, I gave my reasoning and all that, and then when I was listening to it, I'm like, एक minute, ये तो मैं देखता था पहले. Like what changed,
Hmm.
right?
What changed, right?
So I remember, like for me, I feel what changed was I have the opinion that Jay Shetty and Sadhguru are very knowledgeable. Okay, both of them are very
Hmm.
well read. Both of them are very well, like very smart. They're very good orators. That is why they have a following. It's a very general thing. But they give life lessons, or like what is spirituality? It's basically in their terms, uh, doing the best you can and human potential. Okay, that's generally their goal. But
Hmm.
for me, like whatever the teachings are, मैं जिंदगी में मार खा के सीखा है वो.
Hmm.
Like because I have
Like if you
experienced.
keep living your life, you will learn
हाँ,
these teachings along the
correct,
way. Like you
correct,
don't need someone to tell you ki these are the teachings.
exactly,
If when it happens to you, it's kind of that you'd learn it.
correct. So I'll give you like one example of why I realized today that I like went away from it. So I was seeing a Jay Shetty interview on
Hmm.
one of the YouTube channels,
Hmm.
and that guy was like, "How do you find purpose in life?" Okay, so he said three steps. One is you identify the people that you want to sort of idealize. Okay,
Hmm.
and you figure out ki, हाँ, this is the person. Like for example, if he gives the example, if you want to become a billionaire, you I like figure out कि हाँ ये
You
billionaire
idealize like
ये
yeah,
बिलियनर
a
मुझे पसंद
billionaire
है मैं हाँ.
basically.
Step two
Elon
is you
Musk or someone.
हाँ.
Yeah.
Step two is you shadow them, which is basically you
Hmm.
like chart out whatever that they've done in life, whatever their lifestyle is.
Hmm.
And step three is you try and emulate that in your life. Okay.
Hmm.
And this he says ki the step one is important because if you are somewhere in life and you feel you're stuck and you feel like 10,
Hmm.
20 years down the line, you don't want to be in that position. Like for example, you're working in a startup और you're working
Hmm.
in any organization and तुम्हारे साथ तुम्हारे पहले जो 20 साल से काम कर रहा है तुम उस पोजीशन पे नहीं रहना तो you leave from there and you do these three steps. मैं कर रहा था इंजीनियरिंग, मुझे हो रहा था
Hmm.
बोर, मुझे नहीं जीनी थी इंजीनियरिंग की लाइफ, मैं वो छोड़ा.
Hmm.
Then I
Hmm.
figured like so then I figured out कि I wanted to work in the media or at least give it a shot. Then I went to Bombay, I found a person, shadowed him, learned the trades, came back, did
Hmm.
a degree, blah blah blah. And I'm like, why should I hear this from a third person when I've organically
When
done it
I
in my life?
can actually do it myself. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you did that without knowing Jay Shetty's 3 steps or whatever.
No, dude,
तेरे को
this
आज
was, I'm talking about in
learn.
2017. I don't even know if Jai
Hmm.
Shetty was like a big deal then.
He
Like,
probably
honestly,
was. I think he had started becoming a big deal.
maybe.
So uska like all YouTubers, to be very honest, like
Hmm.
his trajectory has been like that only. You know, he started making like say Mr. Beast or someone. You know, he started making a bunch of videos. Nothing was working initially,
Hmm.
but then one thing blew up, and then he became like a
Yeah, yeah.
big
Standard
deal. You know.
virality. Huh.
Correct, correct. And Jay Shetty का भी same ही trajectory था.
Hmm.
His only thing is like because he didn't have like that Sadhguru effect on people as soon as you see him, because
Hmm.
ultimately he still looks like a youngish
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of
He looks like an average
modern
YouTuber.
dude. Yeah, correct,
Hmm.
correct. And Sadhguru still has his whole visual personality going for
Yeah,
him,
yeah, yeah.
where
It's a
you look at
brand.
him and you're like,
Sadhguru ka is a
yeah.
brand.
And I was reading about Sadhguru. So I was like just telling Ramanujan before we started that I have never, this has never been interesting to me only. Like I have never been able to, I've never been curious about Sadhguru, to be very
Hmm.
honest. I knew that a lot of people are like devout advocates of Sadhguru, like
Hmm.
100%. Like I've seen them, I've spoken to them, I know that
Followers.
a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Even I do. Hmm.
100%. So I know that a lot of people follow them, but I was never curious. So I just, live and
Hmm.
let live
Hmm.
that. And I never even tried to find out ki why were people shitting on him. Like either or.
Yeah.
I didn't find out
Yeah.
why either or. So then today I actually went through a lot of stuff, like, about why he was, what was the things that he was saying that, people resonated with. And it was
Hmm.
mostly like Jay Shetty stuff only. Like, if you do these things, then you will be more at peace with yourself, or, you'd be more successful in your
Hmm.
life, stuff like that. And also he would say stuff about the universe, like
Hmm. Yeah.
these things will align for you. And you know how typically people who give you who tell the future for you talk.
Astrologers.
Yeah,
But
astrologers plus
yeah, yeah.
psychics, like it's
Yeah.
like a weird
So
mix of
wait,
these two
wait. So
things.
I was listening to some interview, right? Some talk he was giving, and basically he calls himself a mystic. Okay, so he
Oh.
like, huh. So he is called the mystic. Like whatever his events are, it's whatever with the like. There's a video on with on YouTube with Karan Johar. He said rapid fire with the mystic. करके ऐसा कुछ तो है. So he calls
Mm-hmm.
himself a mystic. Okay, but he hates terms like astrologer and all of that, right? So I was trying to like think about it, and I was trying to figure out key, okay, what is this, what is exactly Sadhguru trying to do? And I feel the major part of his appeal is that he is like I said earlier, he's very well read, he's a very good orator, dude. He is like the kind of person I want to sit on a chai katta with, you know.
Dude, like one of the things I actually read about him was that the fact that he is so westernized with how he talks and how
Hmm.
he, like how he appears so friendly, and like, the way he would even have
No,
a
he's
conversation.
charming. He's
Actually,
charming.
everything is conversational with him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like nothing is like,
Dude,
हाँ मैं
yeah,
speech दे रहा हूँ.
nahi, and
That is one
that
of
comes with,
his.
yeah, yeah, and that comes with, I don't know what it is, but even if a simple question, right? He will give such an eloquent answer, and his language and the way he speaks, like some of the words, and I'm like, I get that you're doing this, and maybe you're very well read. That's why you're doing it.
The thing is, see, honestly, this is like historically proven that if somebody comes up and says something confidently and says something in a friendly manner, you would immediately agree with it.
Yeah,
Like it's
true.
better than someone who's trying to force something down your
Hmm.
throat. Like,
Correct.
if you compare something that Sadhguru is saying to something that Trump is saying, who would you listen to? It's
Correct. Yeah.
just it's just that basic
Correct.
difference, which
But okay, so like,
honestly it's like an art at this point.
yeah, yeah, for
It
sure,
really
for
is.
sure. Because it I can guarantee you, okay, we speak in front of a camera, we've spoken in front of public places. there is a different persona, and there is a skill, that is also a skill of the way you talk, the way you know, gather an audience, the way you hold command with an
Absolutely.
audience.
And like we know how long it took for us to become
Yeah, yeah.
comfortable with this medium.
With
So
this,
like
yeah.
it this particular medium also, which we are
Hmm.
kind of comfortable only. Like it's not like we were ever uncomfortable with it. But to get good at
To get
something
good
and to
at it,
like
it took
keep
a
your
while.
inhibitions
Hmm.
behind, it takes a while, it takes practice, it
Correct.
takes a lot of self-work.
Hmm.
And these people, Jay Shetty, Sadhguru, these kind of people, they have put in that hard work
Effort, yeah, yeah.
initially, and now they are reaping the rewards of it.
करेक्ट या बिकॉज नाउ देखो कंटेंट का जमाना है, ठीक है, बात सिंपल है, ठीक है. जय शेट्टी हैज पुट लाइक अ शिट टन्स ऑफ वॉल्यूम ऑफ कंटेंट आउट ऑफ देयर. दैट्स व्हाई वेरेवर यू गो, यू टाइप एसपी आर, और वो गूगल तुमको जय शेट्टी डालता है उसके बाद, मतलब इतना डाला है उसने. ओके, इट्स बेसिकली दैट. ओके, लाइक बिफोर वी कंटिन्यू, राइट, आई नो वी बोथ आर साउंडिंग वेरी maybe very rude, because this is a sensitive topic, right? If you are following someone, it is like, it is very sensitive, like it is very personal to you, so we are not shitting on what they are saying. Okay,
Absolutely not.
I agree with everything Sadhguru says, I agree with everything Jai Shetty says, to a limit, both of them, to a certain limit ki, ha, I'm
Matlab,
not saying.
like we said initially, that you have to choose what you want to accept. Like, because some things like will come at you from left field, you have to accept everything with a grain of salt. You have to accept what me and Ramanujan are saying also
Yeah,
with a grain of salt.
yeah,
Like,
I
that's
mean,
literally what we're trying to say.
yeah, see, so what we're trying to, like, what at least I'm trying to figure out through this podcast, what my point was, this was ki, why is there a need of someone to come and tell you कि बाबा ऐसे जिंदगी जियो, और क्यों, why are people not living it? Because I am honestly
But
like, if you,
I think like this particular question that you're asking is like the basis of human existence.
yeah,
Like it really is, because you humans love being told what to do.
correct,
Nobody likes not knowing or entering into a void without knowing what that void is going to be,
what that
you know,
outcome or whatever.
or without having direction. Like
Hmm.
literally the basis of religion is this.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
for sure.
forget all these Jay Shetty and like Sadhguru and all. Like I know that they are not like religious, they're not
Hmm.
religions,
Hmm.
but people treat them like they would
Yeah,
treat a
yeah.
religion,
अरे
because
भाई,
even
हाँ,
religion is based on that. Like, you know, people won't not steal because it's a bad, like morally wrong thing. People will not steal because they
because they'll
don't
go to
want to go
hell.
to hell.
Hmm.
Like, you know, this kind of fear is what keeps people in check. Like it works.
Hmm.
Like this is a human tendency. So like why wouldn't a human like that, like us, want these spiritual leaders to tell us what to do if it's working?
See, okay, let's get to the crux of it. What is spirituality? Spirituality is motivation for you to live a better life. बात खत्म है, वो किसी को भी, तुम उस पे कितना भी पाउडर डालो, तुम उस पे कितना भी इंग्लिश झाड़ो, the crux is this. It's motivation for you to lead a better life, how to be happy. Okay, सबको करना है वो, everyone has different means for it. For me, I live and die by this George Carlin quote. Okay, he said it in a stand up. He says, if you're motivated enough to go and pick up a motivational book, you are motivated enough to do anything.
Fair enough.
Simple hai, कि if you have the motivation to go online and see, I know different things work for different people. Okay, I know someone needs an external comforting, like someone to be like, अरे मैं क्या करूँ बताना मेरे को. What I don't sort of understand is the over dependency and the idealization. Idealization by mean I'm saying you put these people on a pedestal that they are your gods. When it comes to people like this, वो भाई वो internet creators है वो लोग, ठीक है, at the
And
end
that
of the
can
day.
be very problematic. Like it
Yeah.
really can be very problematic, because this
Hmm.
is where that line that Ramanujan and I were talking about initially, you know, this is what you should be listening to and this is what you shouldn't be listening to. वो वाला line ऐसे cross हो जाता है when you start
Hmm.
idolizing someone to such an extent कि
Correct.
everything this person is saying is like your word. You know, like
Hmm.
this person has said this, so I
Okay,
have to follow
correct.
it.
So, in India, right? So, in the recent past, we've seen people like Ram Rahim, we've seen people like Asaram Bapu and all take advantage of this very same fact. Okay, again, like the thing is, go for it, dude. Dude, it is I was listening to Sadhguru and Jay Shetty, right? And I was a little shaken by what's happening in the world right now. There's like potential of a World War III, and I get the appeal. In a shitty time, in a shitty
You
time, if
want
you
to accept something good, like you want to
no,
be like
it's dude, it's not even accepting. It's comforting.
comforting.
It is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
comforting to listen to someone say that, okay, you know what, the world is not complete shit, and you have the power to change it. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, cool. Man, it's not going to stop the war that's happening in Russia and Ukraine, but I get
Yeah,
the appeal.
but I
Like
get
I,
like it's that thing now, the three idiots may all is well, all is well. It is that only.
yeah,
It is
it is just
literally
that.
that
It
on
is
a
just that.
larger scale.
Huh. And so, like, at some point, right? I believe it's good. Like, if you're in a rut, to get out of it, these things are damn nice. And but don't take it as gospel. That's all. And don't get
That
offended.
is,
Don't get offended
and
when I'm
don't,
like, bro, I will, sorry, he says this, he's correct, but the way I learned it is because I lived my life that way. Like
hmm,
I just made these decisions, and I'm like, yeah, this is, and now I tell the same thing to the people that were my peers.
hmm.
Like if someone is saying that I'm stuck in a rut, I tell them, देख मेरे जिंदगी में मैंने ये किया, आई मैंने बैटल किया, आई केम आउट अनस्केल्ड, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी नाउ, तू डिसाइड कर ले तेरे को क्या करना है। बट वो
Right.
मेरे लिए वो लोग कुछ फाउंडेशन या मेरे लिए वो लोग
And
कुछ
but
ये
then
नहीं कर
that's
रहे
the
ना।
thing, na, like this another problem for this that you are talking about also is that this one size fits all policy is not a good one.
Absolutely not.
That
Yeah.
is the problem. Like
Hmm.
something that has worked for Sadhguru or something that has worked for Jay Shetty is not going to work for you. Like
Correct.
I'll tell you a very practical example of this. Okay, so in the so when I was studying architecture, that time we used to go to a lot of these. There's this forum, okay, like forum for excellence and exchange of design or something,
Hmm.
and basically it was like a, you could have a membership to it. You have to
Okay.
pay annually or something, or some very chutta paisa amount,
Hmm.
and you could go and attend these events they used to put up where someone used to come and talk to you. So usually it was an architect or a designer who used to
Hmm.
show their work, and then like they put out questions to the audience. Do you have any questions? But so it was interesting to see what is out there in the world as a student. So
Hmm.
that was the good thing about this. But what used to really piss me off about these things was the attitude that these people who used to come had.
Hmm.
Like these are people are obviously well settled in the industry and all, and that's why they are able to come and talk to students about their work, right? So these people used to like take whatever did to succeed in life
Hmm.
as the
Formula.
most, yeah, the most obvious or the most hardworking way to get there. Like if someone from the audience asked the most simple question, ki, how did you end up breaking into this industry particularly? Like for someone who's an architect, how did you break
Hmm.
into the
Hmm.
product design industry, for
Hmm.
example?
Hmm.
So this person used to be like, no, basically I had this thing that Jay Shetty talks about, idolize somebody. So I had this person who I really liked his design work. So I used to go to their office every day, and they used to not allow me to meet
Hmm.
him. So I used to sit in
Hmm.
the reception every day till one day he noticed, and he was like, come on, I liked your shit, that I liked your whatever. And
Dedication.
dude, this is not what you should be telling students. I'll tell you, is fine if it works for you.
Hmm.
Today, if anybody tries that, they'll get arrested. This man, particularly, is not going to entertain anybody, any student who does this in his own office.
Correct. Yeah, that's
He's
true.
not.
Hmm.
So, like, this is like a very practical example of what I'm trying to say. Ki just
Hmm.
because it worked for you doesn't mean it worked for someone else. And students, especially first year students, second year students, are like the most malleable and molding minds that you can
Oh
find,
yes, for sure. We were
because
also
they
like
themselves are
100%.
trying to get validation
Yeah,
ki
yeah.
I'm doing the right thing.
Oh, dude, like I said, see this exact situation that you described. worked for me. I actually went to Bombay and I told this guy कि देख भाई मैं engineering छोड़ के आया, मुझे कुछ पता नहीं है, ठीक है, मैं तेरे को shadow
Hmm.
करेगा. He said कर ले, आजा, कर
Hmm.
ले. मैं किया उसको shadow, एक महीने में I got a decent idea, and at a certain point in my internship he left the company in my hands and he went to Nepal for a shoot. He said हाँ मेरे client तेरे साथ अच्छे रैपो में, तू देख ले. So for
Hmm.
someone like me, it works. And I
Hmm.
had to, but I didn't go because like I listened to some motivational video. No, I
Hmm.
went because one, I was very frustrated with my life. I was sitting and
You
crying
were
that I've,
very, very, very desperate at that point कि
dude,
भाई कुछ करना चाहिए.
वो like I had left engineering. I was very desperate. I was crying at home. घर पे झगड़े होते थे कि तू क्या करेगा कुछ नहीं कर रहा है. So I was like I have to come out punching and I have to prove myself. करके I put myself out there. And I can guarantee you this that अगर वो situation मेरे साथ नहीं होता था, मैं नहीं कर पाता वो. Like if I had finished engineering, I would not have the balls to, because I was in a very adverse situation. I didn't have any options. करके I went. But my point is, again when I'm going to this कि भाई
You didn't. It worked
तुम
for you because you just followed what was supposed to happen in your life technically.
करेक्ट या
You are like, right now, I think this is a good idea,
हाँ
not because someone told
करेक्ट
you to do it.
डूड मैं मेरा
Bus.
जिंदगी ऐसे जी रहा है ठीक है मैं मेरे को जिधर सिचुएशन में मेरे को बुरा लगता है और वेर आई फील लाइक ओके अभी ये गोल है लाइफ में यही फोकस करेंगे यही पढ़ रहे हैं और मैं वही कर रहा हूँ एंड somehow it seems to work. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of time, but it's working. Like I didn't feel the need to turn to like a motivational speaker or something, but at the same time if you need some external help then these guys are very good to go to at the same
Hmm.
time. Like if especially ना अगर तुम्हारे आजू बाजू ना ढक्कन लोग हैं और आजकल दुनिया में बहुत ढक्कन लोग हैं बहुत ज्यादा,
Fair. Fair.
then you might as well turn to these people, might as well.
No, see, when these people are talking about basic morality, I mostly agree with them.
Hmm.
It makes sense.
Hmm.
When I see a Jay Shetty video randomly pop up on Facebook or something, because that is, I think, the first place where I encountered Jay Shetty, by the way. A random
No, that
Facebook pop up video.
his first page was a Facebook page.
There we go. So
Hmm.
that's where I had first encountered him. And I had seen some lame ass video that he had made where many people were ignoring someone who was ugly or
Oh
something. And
man,
then
I know what you're
went out
talking
of
about. I know what you're talking
he
about.
went out
Oh,
of his
cringe,
way to help that.
cringy, cringy,
And
cringe
then he's
max,
talking
cringe
to the
pro.
camera. Often it happens that people like you
Yeah,
know what I mean.
I know that face. Yes,
So
still
it
happens.
was a highly cringe video, but
Hmm.
like obviously on the very baseline of that cringe video, I agreed with it. Yeah,
Are you?
yeah,
Do
you
like
probably shouldn't ignore the person just because they're ugly. Like
100%, 100%.
so that's the thing though. Like this is how they trick you. This
Hmm.
is how they trick you. They're like, ये बेसिक मोरालिटी वाली चीज जो मैंने सही बोली है तो ऑब्वियसली ये ओपिनियन वाली चीज भी सही रहेगी.
Hmm.
एंड आई फील लाइक दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम विद सदगुरु पर्टिकुलरली कि भाई ये बेसिक मोरालिटी वाली चीजें डेथ वाली चीजें फिलोसफीज वाली चीजें मेरे को बहुत अच्छे से आती है और मैं बहुत अच्छे से बोल लेता हूँ. But then, because of that, you also have to listen to this key. If a mother gives birth to a twins, one male, one female, then left breast and right breast produce different types of milk. ये भी सुनना पड़ता है.
एक मिनट what? एक सेकंड what? ये actually हुआ?
This is something
Yeah.
that Sadhguru has said.
Wow, I
So
haven't encountered this Sadhguru dude. Would I left him before getting to this side? Wow. Okay.
so
Yeah.
yeah, like you know what I mean. Like you
Hmm.
have to choose your battles, and you have
Correct.
to pick the right infantry for your army. That is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
It's like
If you are a
basically.
Sadhguru person, you can't keep this in your artillery. Ki,
Yeah.
two types of meats are produced by two breasts. You know what I mean?
Correct. No, but like, see, when he will say that, right? He will use such nice high fundu language, no,
And
and
he says
such
everything is
amazing words.
scientifically
Everything is
backed up.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everything
वो
is
तो standard.
scientifically backed.
हाँ, everything is scientific in Sadhguru's
And
word.
that
Yeah,
is like matlab, this so this is what I went in this other spiral.
yeah.
So I actually have this nice list of things.
Mm-hmm.
So if we've gotten to that part of this episode,
Yeah.
I
Please
would
go for it.
like to
Go for it
I
because
would
I'm
like to
very
read
surprised.
I would like to read some amazing things that Sadhguru has said, which kind of shocked me also because I was encountering such nice things about Sadhguru on the internet for a very
Hey,
long
I
time.
was I was on the nice side only till now.
Yeah. So this is from my favorite website in the world,
Hmm.
Quora.com.
Arey, fuck, love Cora, dude. The best.
So someone asked on that group on Quora, ki, is Sadhguru a con man? So
Hmm.
this is the first. So अभी तक तो मैंने अच्छा अच्छा पढ़ा था. So I was
Hmm.
particularly now trying to look at criticism of Sadhguru,
Hmm.
ki why he's bad. So
Correct.
is Sadhguru a con man? तो obviously I clicked on it. Though somebody has commented anonymously saying ki I was a big Sadhguru fan, but these are the things that I did not agree with.
Hmm.
And I'm just letting you guys know. So this guy knew and he properly picked his battles, this particular dude. Isha Foundation, if you guys don't know,
Yeah.
is like Sadhguru's foundation, which he
In
uses to
Coorg.
fund a bunch of projects.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the first one is during a basic course of Isha Foundation called Inner Engineering,
Hmm.
on the initiation day, Sadhguru says that if you hold a Rudraksh mala over a food item, it will rotate clockwise or anti-clockwise, depending on the nature of the food item, whether it's
Hmm.
tamasic or sattvic. And this person is like, obviously, if you are holding it, you will move it.
Hmm.
So this person himself is like, if you really want to test this theory, then
Hang it on a piece of
dangle the
string.
Rudraksh
Hmm.
mala from somewhere and see if it moves. It
Hmm.
doesn't.
Hmm.
This person, like off the bat, like what's this
Huh.
BS? And the next one is Sadhguru claimed that he can solidify mercury by holding it. Now,
Solidify mercury by holding it. Okay, cool.
like obviously, this is like uh, stuff that when power goes to people's heads, how they
I
start
was
talking
just
now.
thinking that. I was just thinking that. I'm like, okay, he started out to be, good, but then he figured out that he's got a lot of this thing. By the way, उसका अभी भी कुछ तो save the soil का चल रहा है, full जोश में उसका campaign चल रहा है.
अरे dude, वो भी actually बहुत बड़ा point है इसमें कि
Hmm.
he was trying to do that Isha Foundation thing of like saving the rivers.
Yeah,
So
save the
उसके
rivers. उसका
उसके लिए
क्या हुआ
मतलब
पता नहीं.
हाँ प्रॉपरली कितना सारा बैकिंग था उसको लाइक लियोनार्डो डिकैप्रियो had also given him backing
Hmm.
कि हाँ अच्छा है वगैरह. So what his plan was कि सारे रिवर्स के
Connect करेंगे.
बैंक्स पे नो and we'll grow trees.
Okay.
ठीक है. So all the ecological environment वगैरह people were like भाई there are a lot of repercussions of this.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there are a lot of problems that will happen because you're growing trees on the river banks.
Hmm.
Like damming will happen. People like areas will get flooded. You have to take into consideration all these
हाँ
things and
ऐसे
wildlife will get affected.
हाँ ऐसा माइनक्राफ्ट जैसा
So
नहीं खड़ा कर सकते कि इधर भी झाड़.
exactly. And so उसका जो हमेशा हमेशा ईशा फाउंडेशन का जो भी पढ़ते हो ना like this is something that I had seen before but I had not paid attention to
Hmm.
कि ईशा फाउंडेशन का like they will like walk towards a goal with like blinders on
Hmm.
without seeing the repercussions of what they're
Repercussions.
doing.
Hmm.
हाँ मतलब they're trying to do something good only. Like
Hmm.
they want a good thing to happen but it's such a myopic view of that like कि
Yeah.
मेरे को सिर्फ वो चाहिए
वो
ये
ही
सब जो
करना
हो
ठीक
रहा है
है.
वो नहीं होने वाला है.
Hmm.
ठीक है. So that is another like I guess criticism of
Hmm.
Sad, but I don't know if this is of Sadhguru or like the entire goddamn foundation because
Uh,
definitely
at
there are
this,
more
see,
people
so
working there.
okay, so there's this channel on YouTube. It's called Mystics of India. Okay,
Hmm, hmm,
उसमें एक ही बंदे का वीडियो है, वो सदगुरु. और
hmm,
उसमें क्या वीडियो है कि उसने जब भी किसी को बैक आंसर किया है या बहुत स्मार्ट रिप्लाई दिया है ना, लाइक व्हेन समवन्स ट्राइड टू बी रियली स्मार्ट विद सदगुरु एंड ही इज very nicely taken them down. It's just that video. Like
hmm,
I feel there's a following for that also. People are like, oh my god, क्या must take down किया. And that comes from
hmm.
FOMO, because हम तो दो शब्द बोल नहीं सकते पब्लिक में. वो तो चलो, I have a
And
different.
everybody loves a good takedown
Yeah,
video.
yeah, of
Like,
course. Dude, like comedy heckling videos are my fucking favorite. मैं रात को नींद नहीं आता बैठ के
hmm,
देखता है वो. Okay, so in that, right, he'd gone to a college where they were studying law, right? Kids were studying law. और बहुत चूतिया बच्चे हैं, ठीक है, मतलब बहुत चूतिया बच्चे हैं, क्योंकि डूड, इफ यू आर ट्राइंग टू क्वेश्चन दिस पर्सन, राइट, यू नीड टू बी वेरी एलोक्वेंट एंड यू नीड टू बी एट हिज लेवल, और तुम बहुत ढक्कन हो, तुम बच्चे हो,
Hmm.
ठीक है, तुम्हारे में बहुत जोश है, तो तुमने हक दिया है पूरा। सो
Hmm.
लाइक बहुत सारे वीडियोस डैम फन, बिकॉज़ यू आर लाइक फ्यूचर गया भाई ये कंट्री का, मतलब ऐसे बच्चे पे
Hmm.
तू गया,
Hmm.
राइट, because it's such a clear setup where this guy's like, no, no, तू है ना, तू question
Is
पूछ।
इससे अच्छा ना, I feel like they should have just asked him what his favorite color was and like got done with it. You know how like there's like a bhari sabha and like someone
Yeah.
asks a question like what is your favorite color and
No,
everyone gets
so
very irritated कि इससे अच्छा question नहीं पूछ सकते थे.
yeah, so like they asked about the land thing, okay, and it was a huge deal. Like there were a lot of activists that were doing it, but whatever. And Sadhguru's like, you come, I will give you the right to survey my land, whatever. You go ask whatever official you can, whatever. And I was thinking कि तुम ये एक तो लॉयर्स हो, ठीक है, तुम इंडिया में रहते हो, ठीक है, इंडिया में तुम पैसे दोगे ना, घंटे से कुछ भी हो सकता है,
Hmm.
ठीक है, मतलब इट्स सो सिंपल, ईशा फाउंडेशन, लाइक दिस इज माय थ्योरी अराउंड इट, माइट बी राइट, इट माइट बी रॉन्ग, व्हाटएवर द क्रैप, बट आई एम लाइक, डूड, things can be made legal which were illegal overnight, it's fine, it happens,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
waste your time
correct,
on that, right?
correct.
So like there is this section of just Sadhguru followers or whatever who like the fact that he takes down people, and I'm like, "Ye, what are you
On that
doing?"
one video, वो
No, it's
one
not
video में
one
सुना.
video, bro. It's the entire channel. The entire channel is filled
Oh.
with videos like
Matlab they
this.
just sit and find like interview
Yeah,
parts where Sadhguru is like, no, you're wrong, listen to me.
correct. No, see, and उसके नीचे you should see the comments. Oh my God, क्या मस्त reply दिया है. This is why I say empty vessels make the most noise or whatever. I'm like, नहीं, वो question अच्छा किया, मतलब सही किया उसने, थोड़ा गधे की तरह
Hmm.
किया बस. But he was asking right points, and yeah, dude, if you have a command of language na, you can take down
Hmm.
anyone in this world. It's not a big skill.
Yeah, yeah,
हाँ,
100%.
तुम यही सेम चीज एक किसी कमेडियन को पूछो, वो भी तुमको मस्त टेक डाउन करेगा, अच्छे से करेगा, एकदम प्यार से करेगा. But that is, see, these, like, this is why I have a problem with spirituality in India. One,
Hmm.
spirituality in general can be learned by just living your life. That is
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
Second is, when people are telling you about spirituality, no, वो वो बंदा 100% राइट नहीं रहने वाला है. ट्विंस
Hmm.
हुए तो लेफ्ट एंड राइट ब्रेस्ट में दूध नहीं सेपरेट होता है. फक, इट्स लाइक अ, लाइक माय, लाइक दैट इज लाइक, मेरे को गुस्सा आ रहा है अभी, बट आई एम लाइक, we as people in general need to generate some sense and some little bit of self confidence, and this whole industry is gone. Like, and this is also one section, like, people are hate watching these people also. People are
Hmm.
hate watching, saying that, अरे मैं इससे स्मार्ट है, तू नहीं है,
Hmm.
तू बिल्कुल नहीं है, ठीक है, तू नहीं है ना, मैं हूँ, कोई नहीं है, कोई वो बंदा एक्चुअली नॉलेजेबल है, वो दोनों बंदों ने बैठ के पढ़ाई की है और वो दिख के आता है.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't just speak like that out of your ass, okay, about stuff. Politicians can, because they don't talk about
Hmm.
anything, they just words, but this thing has certain substance also.
No, and it has repercussions, dude. Like, I
Correct.
feel like this is like such a major thing, especially for someone who has such a big following. It's always like I feel like it's always a debate I've had with people. Ki bhai, if you are a famous person, you weirdly have a moral obligation to your, or moral responsibility towards your audience.
Hmm.
Like, see now how Trump tweeted once and like fucking they attacked the Capitol. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Like it's like that. If someone is in a position of power,
Spider-Man,
has
bro. With great
20,000
power gets comes
followers,
great responsibility.
exactly. So you need to have that kind of filter. And if
Hmm.
you don't have it, or if you think you whatever, you know what? Here's another thing I wanted to discuss actually. Here I feel like mostly about these people, what ends up happening is that they believe that whatever's coming out of their mouth is true.
Yeah.
Like
अरे
ultimately they are fooling themselves.
हाँ, नहीं,
Ultimately. And
देखो सिम.
it's a
Hmm.
very good survival mechanism, to be
Yeah.
very fair.
Hmm.
Like, because if you convince yourself you're doing the right thing, then you will never have any doubt, you will never have any self-doubt,
Moral
and
compass
you will
ऑफ हो गया ना
always be
तुम्हारा.
confident. Yeah, you'll always be very confident. But it also, like, this is the downside of someone famous being like that.
Hmm.
Ki, now this person has advocates all over the world
Hmm.
following him blindly or whatever, and then he is like this, where whatever he's saying, he's like, हाँ मैंने बोला है तो सच ही होगा,
Hmm.
you know
हाँ,
then
और
गया.
उसको बस बोल दो कि हाँ भाई साइंटिफिकली प्रूवन है.
Exactly, and he always says it's scientifically backed and
Hmm.
all, but like stuff like this is a glass of water, and like if I hold it, it has a calming presence, and this is scientifically backed. भाई मैं कुछ भी बोल सकती हूँ, फिर कुछ भी बोल सकती हूँ. I can say anything. I'll cut off
See,
this piece of hair and I'll put it in दूध and it'll have like healing
wow,
powers. मतलब I
you.
can say anything.
Dude
That
in
doesn't
hair is
mean you
such a
believe
weird
me.
thing, but yeah. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get your anger, Soumya. I get it. The only thing is now I'm so indifferent, right? Because I'm like, देखो चूतिया लोग तो चूतियागिरी
Correct.
करेंगे.
See, I see that's the thing. You and I know that we would never
Yeah.
believe this stuff, but
Hmm.
at the same time, I know that there are people who will,
100%. 100%. मैं तो
which
बता
is
रहा
the
हूँ.
problem.
देखो देखो आई एम नॉट आउट देयर टू चेंज द वर्ल्ड. तुमको ये पॉडकास्ट सुनना है, अगर तुम इन दोनों के फॉलोअर हो, तुम्हें मेरे को गाली देने दो, तुम्हें उनको फॉलो करना है, करो. नो प्रॉब्लम.
You
मैं
know what?
मेरी मेरी बड़ास दिखा रहा हूँ बस जिंदगी की. ये इसलिए मैं पॉडकास्ट करता हूँ. ठीक है, बात खत्म. मेरे मेरे हफ्ते का जो वर्क का प्रेशर रहता है, मैं और सौम्य आते हैं, एक दो घंटा बकर करते हैं मास. Oh, by the way, we'll call guests also. So if you want to be on the podcast, you can just drop us in the comment and then
You
we'll figure
can,
it out.
yeah, let us
हाँ.
know. We'll talk
So
about something, I'm
so
sure.
तो साथ में बकर करते हैं हम एक हफ्ते की, एंड आई एम गुड. ये है मेरा स्पिरिचुअलिटी ब्रो. ये सच्ची मेरा स्पिरिचुअलिटी है. दिस कीप्स मी सेन, दिस कीप्स मी वेरी हैप्पी, दिस कीप्स मी वेरी पॉजिटिव.
Venting when you need to. That is
एंड
about it.
एग्जैक्टली अगर तुम बाहर जाके दोस्त बनाओगे ना अच्छे लाइफ में, तो तुम्हें सौम्य और मेरे जैसे दोस्त मिलेंगे जिसके साथ तुम बैठ के बकर कर सकते हो, और तुम्हें बस फिर सदगुरु जय शेट्टी जैसे चीज देखने का टाइम नहीं मिलेगा. दैट्स इट.
Huh. Huh. And if you watch it, it'll just be like, oh, interesting. And then you go on to the next video. You know what I mean?
Because it is interesting. Like I saw the rapid fire this thing, and dude, he's very smart, very witty, like
He's
very
quick-witted.
witty. Yeah,
The
yeah,
dude can think on his feet. And
very
this is an
witty.
important part of like somebody who has to be
So,
in a position like him.
just be
So here's
likable in general.
here's what I think is happening now though. Like, that Ranveer from Beer Biceps,
Ranveer Singh Ahluwalia, the no
that's his
fab
name,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying random
No
Punjabi
fap guy.
surnames.
Exactly. This no fap guy, no fap thing only I was going to talk
No
about
fab boy.
actually. So this guy is kind of going on Jay Shetty's lines. Like,
Oh
have you seen the
yes.
kind of
Arey.
videos he's producing? Like he's
Mm,
producing
sadly,
those
I
kind of
have.
videos only where he's talking to the camera and he's like, हमें life ऐसे जीना चाहिए. Today I'm going to talk to
Yeah.
a Tibetan monk and like we are going to discuss life secrets or whatever. Like I
Nice.
think I
Hey,
ended up
Soumya, very
watching that
good.
Tibetan monk.
Very good beer by Susan impression. Yeah, very good. Nice, nice job.
Thanks. I think I was born to be
A
a
beer
beer
versus
biceps
impression.
impersonator. Yes.
Nice. You can be the nice. It's a good career option. Dude, John Lever ने वैसे तो चालू किया था, हम लोग भी करना. या
Just
हमारे.
just ride on his
Yeah.
popularity till like.
But yeah,
So
dude, I can't
I
stand
think
that guy.
he has picked up that strain only
Yeah,
of
I
like
can't stand that guy.
trying to be,
I
but
just
but
can't.
he also has followers like this
Yeah, yeah,
Ramanujan, like people
yeah,
who
yeah.
dude, you guys won't believe he believes in what was the word? What is the no fap actual word?
Semen retention.
Semen retention.
It's
So he
burnt like
believes
that
that
in the inside of my skull. It just comes out
I
when
don't
someone
know.
asks it.
I can't
Yeah,
even begin to explain
it's
this
okay.
concept.
No,
So
let's not talk about that guy. I don't want to give him any publicity.
no,
He
but
just
what I'm
sucks,
trying to
bro.
say is that he has been advocating things like this so
Yeah.
hard
Hmm.
that people don't want to believe doctors or health
Yeah,
professionals
no,
anymore.
I see
People are like,
what
भाई वो रणवीर ने बोला है बियर
वो
बाइसेप्स पे
देखो,
कि
हाँ वो देखो, वो दैट इज बॉर्डर लाइन मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन। एक तो मुझे वो बंदा एज अ बंदा ही हिज ओके, he may be very chill and very fun in real life, but his online camera persona I hate. I can't stand such people in real life. I shit on
he's
them on a very
called
real.
his podcast beer bicep. I just
Yeah.
feel like this is a very telling thing, you
No,
guys.
and dude, his tagline is "It's the most intelligent podcast in India," and I'm like, "तू गांड मरा यार, तू जा, तू खुश रह, तू बारी, तू बेस्ट, मैं हगड़ू, तू तू जिंदगी जी भाई, तू मेरे से दूर जी बस, उतना ही कर." मैं I don't like I'm telling you, dude, I don't even want to let him hamper my mental health or like give him any importance in life. तू जी ना भाई, तू कर मस्ती, मेरे लाइफ में
But
मत आ।
this is my premonition. This is me being a mystic.
हम्म,
That beer biceps is going to be like Jay Shetty in
he
like the
already is,
next
no?
5 years.
He
All,
already is.
but not nearly as popular as Jay
Dude,
Shetty,
but I'll tell you
obviously.
what, okay? I like now you're talking about that, right? So I was listening to Jay Shetty and he was giving like some motivational thing about, imagine yourself in the future and whatever efforts you'll put in. And I'm like, एक minute, मैं कहाँ था?
Manifest.
हाँ, तो I was on a walk, right? I was just walking around normally outside and I was listening to this guy. And I like, ये मैंने किधर तो भी सुना है पहले. Like I've heard the same flow of things. And I'm like, fuck, it clicked me. Every gym motivational influencer on
Fitness
Instagram
person.
sounds the fucking same.
You
The
could do a
fucking
super
same.
cut of everything they're saying, and no one would come to know that it's different people.
And
Like
I'm
no
like,
one would.
एक मिनट, ये तो सेम इन्फ्लुएंसर वाला टेम्पलेट ही चला रहे हो तुम. And I'm like, are are people really
Jay
that?
Shetty is an influencer.
He's an
He
influencer, yeah.
is.
Hmm.
Like you
He's a
can't
content
call
creator and
him
influencer.
anything else.
I have a very last point about Jay Shetty, okay? And like, if people want to answer it. If people want to hate on it because I said this, go for it. I don't care. But so when I was listening to this guy, okay, he was telling his life story about how he was working in whatever some corporate, and then he came to India and he interned with a monk or whatever. And then he's like, now I've got all those learnings and I want to put them in real life. तो इन माय हेड आई एम थिंकिंग, तेरे मॉन्क का टीचिंग ने तेरे को क्या कंटेंट का क्रिएटर बनाया सिखाया क्या? नहीं, बिकॉज आई एम लाइक, व्हाट एग्जैक्टली आर यू टीचिंग?
That's
ओके,
probably the only teaching I'll give my child. So like let's
नो,
let's
बट
be
लाइक,
real
ओके,
here.
बट लाइक ऑनेस्टली थिंक अबाउट इट, ओके, इफ ही इज टेलिंग ही इज अ monk, right, and the monk's life is the way of detachment, but you're coming and saying, no, I want to impart those teachings over here, but you're saying the same shit. Like you're saying like the most practical thing, like, and do practicality, I like common sense and practicality are the two things that these guys are selling you.
Mhm.
And तुम झाड़ भर का
See,
टाइम भी
I
खुद के सेल्फ
always
डेवलपमेंट में डालोगे ना, आ जाएगा ये.
So I recently got a message on LinkedIn from one of these many wannabe influential and motivational speakers saying, "Mere YouTube ka motion graphics will you be able to do?" And no,
Hmm.
he didn't reach out to me from his account. One of his PR people reached out. Matlab, he's
Hmm.
built a team and everything. So I was like, why not? So I'm waiting on his content. But obviously, meanwhile, I ended up searching and finding out. It's that only. See, when you are in a piece of shit place in your life, like कि मुझे अभी कुछ सूझ नहीं रहा है, nothing can be better than what it is right now. You always need a third party to come in, assess the situation as a third person perspective, and give you that perspective. The most obvious way I see forward from here is to do this thing.
Hmm.
And that actually, when you think about it in hindsight, is always common sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was the only thing I could have done in that time, and obviously, that was the only thing
Hmm.
that was going to work. But in that moment, you cannot
Think about it.
actually figure it out.
Hmm.
So, when these people tell you what to do, you feel that they are something great because it
Hmm.
worked for you or whatever. But always in hindsight, if you see, it's something stupidly practical, it's something
Hmm.
stupidly logical. So technically, it's just a long psychological con.
Yeah, yeah.
It's literally just tricking you into thinking this is something smart,
Hmm.
but it is not.
And you know what? I get it. Okay. India as a country, as a society, we are not very open about talking about failures. We are not very
Hmm.
open about talking about, oh, I'm struggling. You know, I have like some, so I'm feeling very sad, very depressed, and whatever. There is a this I want to keep as a different podcast topic, and we will come to it. But I feel the best way to have these uncomfortable conversations is in your own home or with your own close circle of friends. And the second you start doing that, all of this will not make sense. The thing I just want to address is that, guys, please stop treating depression as cool. It's not cool to have a mental health issue. Don't go out and on social media and shout that you have a mental health issue, because if you had, there is a very high, there are some people who would actually put it there online. But if you have actually issues, please go treat them, then come and tell us how you overcame them. That will be great, but
Hmm.
don't shout about it on social
It's
media.
not.
Don't make it cool.
Also, this is the same thing. Also, that one size fits all thing
Hmm.
is applies to this also. Like maybe you are dealing with your depression in a very
Yeah,
fun and
yeah,
mean way,
but
but
it's
other
not,
people are
dude.
not.
For
So,
the people who are actually going through it now, at some point it becomes very triggering. So
or even
I'm
going through it differently, like
yeah.
than you. Like,
I'm saying, you know
you,
what? Share it. It's great.
hmm,
Come share it with the world, but do it after you've conquered, and do it in a way that will help someone. That's it.
yeah, correct, correct.
Again, coming back to the topic and actually ending it, because it's been a while now that we're
Yes,
speaking, and it's
yes.
it's great to turn to these people. But like Soumya said, थोड़ा जो ridiculous information है उसको उधर ही रहने दो, इंटरनेट पे सुन लो, बट ऐसा जहन में मत डाल के पब्लिक में
Take it
जाके
with
मत
a
बोलो.
pinch of salt. Take
हाँ,
everything that you encounter with a pinch of salt. It'll only help you.
correct. And yeah, whatever
Literally
is,
all it is.
dude, if it helps you, great, go for it. It doesn't help me, sorry. And that is what I've done through this entire podcast, to tell you कि भाई मेरे लिए तो नहीं चलता है. तुम्हें चलता है, great, have fun. Whatever helps you lead a very
And
happy
yeah,
life.
and we are not shitting on
No, we are
anyone.
not. No.
100%.
And I
Uh,
honestly, I want to reach the level or of knowledge and the oration that Sadhguru possesses. Not the information about like the, but like just the whole overall vibe of that person. I really like. That's about
hmm,
it.
hmm. Also, if you guys know any other motivational speakers
Yeah.
that you believe in or whatever,
Please,
you guys
please hit us in
please
the
let us
comments.
know.
We'll definitely check them out.
Yeah.
Also, like us on Instagram, follow us there. You'll get to know which episode is coming out when. Like I said earlier in the podcast, if you want to be a guest on the podcast, please just drop it in the comments and we'll figure out how to make that work. Because Zoom है, खुद के घर से करो, एक लैपटॉप चाहिए तुमको बस, और कुछ नहीं, ठीक है? Anyway, so like, share, subscribe as always, and new episodes will be out mostly, hopefully, every Friday.